We're back with the S2000. The last time you saw this car was in our first drive video, where after 2 years, we finally got the car roadworthy-ish. Mark drove it, I drove it. It was great. And now, we're gonna take the engine and transmission out of the car.
We just got it running, man. We're gonna do this again.
Time for an engine pull. You're probably wondering, why are we undoing all the work that we just spent so much time doing to the S2000? And, well, Mark, would you like to explain?
Well, I guess because of the 2 years of it kind of just sitting around and collecting dust, it also has worn out a couple of the rubber parts, like the Reveille seal we found out is leaking.
We assume.
And we got to pull the engine out because you want to also paint the engine bay, right?
Yeah, I want to paint the whole car. You know, luckily we can do 2 things at once and, you know, prep it for paint and all that stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the S2000 run because it's not going to run for a little while. You want to start pulling this thing out?
I guess the first thing I should do is disconnect the battery. Be responsible. I've never pulled an engine from an S2000 before. I guess maybe we should start with the coolant. Still got wiring that we'll have to undo. It'd be nice to do like a bulkhead style wiring that we just unclip it from the bulkhead. All right, maybe not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and like kind of unbolt the radiator and kind of pick it up and lift it over this like ledge. It should hold itself, but it'll
Prevent a huge mess.
Yeah, it'll prevent a huge mess. It's all right, just let it drain. We're not in a rush, right?
Not in a rush.
Okay.
This is not an Evo engine pull. We're gonna take our time. We're not gonna drop any nuts into the engine. It's gonna be a nutless, or a nut dropping-less mechanical.
I mean, it's probably still gonna be nutless. And out it comes.
So that's oil on the ground from sitting here, I don't know, like 15 minutes or something?
Pretty sure it's gonna be that rear main seal.
Well, let's find out.
Let's do it, Daddy-o. And since we're under here, might as well take the drive shaft off. All right. It is not a 14. If it's a 15, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose my... It is a 15, I'm losing it. That is a weird size. Might as well take off this slave cylinder. Watch it be another 15. Well, how the heck am I supposed to get that?
Do you need small Asian hands? People need to see that I worked on my car.
Am I showing crack, Mark?
No, but you're showing nothing but bottom.
Nothing but bottom. Got it. And I helped.
Ooh, pretty.
Now I gotta figure out this mess down here.
The big question is, are you gonna be able to put all of this back?
Well, it may or may not run.
So what do you want to do first? Do you want to start doing the subframe, or you want to?
I wanna go ahead and lower it onto this table.
Problem is still not visible. Where's the oil coming from?
So it's not leaking from the input shaft seal, which would be beyond this. If you look here, like it's all over this.
So it's got to be coming from like behind the flywheel.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be darned.
Hey, look. I think we can go ahead and confirm that the rear main seal is leaking.
The engine and trains can't go back in for a while anyhow because we have to get the car painted. So next step is getting everything prepped for paint.
We are gonna take off the subframe from the motor, but before we do that, I am taking off the control arms off the subframe. Everything has gotten really rusty on this car since we had the build done, and I just wanna try and visually improve some of the stuff on here and make it a little bit easier to work on in the future. And then, yeah, we're gonna put the subframe back on the car so that the car is rollable for paint. Mark is gonna do the rear main seal.
This is the first time I'm actually using this tool.
The big reason why I even have to do all this and try and treat all this rust is literally from the one trip back from Wisconsin back in 2022. The S2000 was on an open trailer. All the salt on the road from the snow and all that moisture got up on the underbody of the car. That resulted in all the rust and stuff that I have on the car now. That was literally one trip. So you think about all the cars that drive in that kind of stuff half the year for a decade, 2 decades, like say Mitsubishi Eclipse from Pennsylvania, you can see how bad rust can get real quickly.
Bonjour. I am a K-swap. I kind of want to get this out of the way. It'd be so satisfying.
Yes.
This is a different way of pulling a battery out, right? From the engine bay. All right, I just gotta pull that. And all this can get tucked up in that corner and be manipulated the way it needs to. Almost died. So now that we got the main engine harness out of the engine bay, there's a few other wires that we need to also get out of the engine bay. Should be good on wiring. Hopefully.
Trying to get as much stuff out of the engine bay for my buddy Chris, who's gonna be painting the car, as I can. This wiring harness is gonna kind of just have to stay in, so that's a pain for him. But a bigger pain would probably be if we had to keep this master cylinder and ABS unit in here. So I'm gonna pop all this stuff free.
We are in a lot better position than we were before. A lot of the things are out. Pretty much just a bare engine bay from what it looks like. We still need to put the subframe back in so that we can actually move the car in and out and around when it comes to getting to the paint booth.
Kind of far from the normal environment I'd be prepping a car in, but we're here today at the shop to see if we can make do with the very limited supplies that we have on hand. I've been painting for 12 years now. Primarily, I do a lot of collision work. We're getting this S2000 all taken apart, getting it ready to sand it all down and ready to get sprayed. Prep work is, you know, the foundation of your paint job. So without good prep, your paint won't last and won't be good over top of it. So the first thing you want to do when you're prepping a car is get everything taken apart, trim, handles, mirrors, all that. If you don't clean the panels before you sand, you can sand contaminants into the substrate and it can cause issues in your paint like fish eyes. You just want to make sure you have a clean panel, and that way you can inspect them thoroughly to make sure there's any damage that might need to be fixed and taken care of before you prep it and put it in the booth. Oh, we got the engine bay all cleaned and we got the car cleaned. So we're gonna start sanding that stuff and see if we can get it done. The S2000 is in okay condition. It could definitely be worse, but it could definitely be better. This is the platform we got to work with, so we're just gonna make it good. Once we get to the paint stage, we're gonna be working with BASF to use their Glasurit 90 line paint and glamour clears on this S2000. BASF is some of the highest quality paint offered on the market today, so we're very happy to be working with them and putting their products on this car. Honestly, it's probably more than Ben deserves. probably. And I feel like I haven't even done that much.
And I helped. Well, the front fenders were good enough for, you know, what I was doing with the car. If I wasn't painting it, they were good enough. On a car that we're gonna be putting so much money and time into the prep and paint, I wanted to have perfect condition fenders. So we had some brand new fenders from Honda. And even though I literally waited a year to get it, I finally got my J's Racing Flying V style vented hood. We've got everything, the whole car disassembled, obviously. And today and tomorrow, it's gonna get sprayed and put back together kind of gingerly. We're almost there. Super excited.
In situations like this, it's 90% prep work and 10% spraying. So all the important steps are in the prep. So without good prep, then you don't have good paint. So after you get the parts in the booth washed and tacked off, ready to spray, it's essential to put down the proper sealer color, depending on what color you're spraying, if it's light, dark, or whatever.
Right now, I'm mixing up some more sealer to paint the other booth full of parts. Sealer is just gives you a nice ground cover to make sure that you have a nice even surface that's the proper color to go under your base coat to give it the right shade. And it'll fill in like minor sand scratches and stuff like that, but nothing crazy. So it's just to give you a uniform surface, really.
So now we're gonna get the base coat ready. We are using Glasurit BASF 90 line on this car, which is a waterborne base coat. It's really nice stuff. I love it a lot. We're gonna get the base coat in the gun and get ready to go put some color on this thing.
Finally, it is time to get the car sprayed, and I cannot wait to personally see how it comes out. And I can't wait for you guys to see the color that we picked. It's actually something special that Chris mixed himself.
This has been quite the long process. It's been a couple months since we prepped the car, and now getting it sprayed. This color is beautiful. I can't wait to see the car back together, and it's looking really good. This is a Porsche Forest Green Metallic that I modified a bit to suit Ben's taste. Gave it a little bit more coarse metallic with a different metallic shape, and also added some glass flake in there as well. I put on 3 coats of base as coverage coats, and I put 1 control coat or drop coat to make sure the metallics are all nice and even, so we don't get any kind of splotchiness or modeling, anything like that, stripage or anything. So it gives us a nice, even, fresh looking coat of color. The BASF 450 clear that we use for this job is a high solids, all-purpose kind of glamour clear. It's my first time spraying it, so I didn't really know what to expect from it, but I found once I started spraying it, it was super predictable and it's laid out exactly how I wanted it. So overall, I think it's an amazing clear, and I'll put that on all of my stuff in the future that I do work on.
Hey guys, just wanted to take a quick commercial break to let you know that we have new merch for sale. And this is not just any merch, this is the highest quality stuff we've ever done by a long shot. Super comfortable, super high thread count, and all silk screen printing. So we've got the Gears and Gasoline logo on the front, and then this is my favorite shirt for no particular reason, but this signature shirt is probably gonna be our best seller. We've also got this DSM shirt, which fittingly it is on a lift. And we've got this exploded diagram of an FL5 Civic Type R, which bears a striking resemblance to Ben's car.
The way it flops from like almost black to like green is pretty cool.
Bro, it looks so good. Oh my, dude, that looks so good. Chris and I text each other like 600 times back and forth, like trying to figure out what kind of green I wanted. Okay, here's some inspiration. All right, let's actually make that color. And then he would spray out real options for me to look at. No, I don't really like that much. Okay, let me take it back and I'll modify it. And he took a Porsche Forest metallic green and then basically just added a bunch of flake to it, and it looks sick. It's like nothing, just looks black, and then it just explodes like as soon as you get at the right angle. That looks so good, bro. I mean, it looks amazing.
Glad you're happy, buddy.
Leave the carbon vents exposed. Chris's idea, not your first rodeo.
No.
Thank you, buddy. We haven't even painted the car yet.
We painted most of it. Today is Sunday. We are spraying the chassis today. Since we didn't yesterday, we decided to take a little extra time taping stuff up, get some rest, and come in today refreshed. Today we're gonna spray the chassis, the mirrors, the handles, and wrap this thing up. You don't need the top of the line equipment to get great results painting a car. You can get like a Harbor Freight Black Widow gun for like 200 bucks. Make sure you're doing all your steps right and follow the tech sheets for whatever products you're using, and just take your time. You can still get good results as long as you take your time. You can paint a car, you know, in your garage or whatever you have. It's just gonna be more work on the back end. Probably gonna get more trash and, you know, more susceptible to contaminants in the paint and stuff like that. So you'll probably have to do more buffing, maybe reshoot some stuff if it doesn't come out great. I mean, it's possible. I've done it in my early career too, and things turn out good. It's just more work. A little bit of overspray that I missed from fine lining the vents was under the clear, so we're gonna address that because it was bothering me all night. We're gonna make it right. Yeah, the hood, that's on me. Mistake on my part. But those things happen. We learn from them, and you know, we fixed it. It's an easy fix, so it's gotta re-clear it, which I kind of wanted to do anyway, since sometimes with the carbon hoods, like the almost like checkered pattern can come back a little bit once it settles. And it did that just a little bit, so I just wanted to re-clear it and make sure that it's good for the future, and you know, it'll even be slicker this time. So first time spraying the 450 clear, it's great. Like, you know, we baked it yesterday and it got the setup overnight, so we got to see it again this morning to see if it, you know, sucked in a little or any kind of things like that happened, but it looks just as glossy and good as it did yesterday, so that's super good. I can't be more happy with it. And you know, the base coat looks great. Everything looks really good. I want to give a huge thank you to Jill, Greg, Thad, and Sam over at BASF for agreeing to work with us on this project. Their paint is like the best paint I've sprayed in my entire, 14-year career. I love it. I recommend it to anyone. And I'm not just saying that, like, it's really good stuff. I love everything about it. It's such good paint. So now that everything's painted and looks good, we will put all the panels on the car carefully to transport it up to automotive aesthetic. So that way I can go up there and cut and buff the car just to get any little bit of trash and stuff like that out. So it has a really nice slick glass appearance when we're done.
So when I bought this car from Jackie Ding like 2 years ago, pretty early on I knew obviously it needed to get painted, and I wanted to paint it some kind of really refined, restrained but special feeling green, because this is a motoring pleasure build. ITBs, everything's manual. It's just supposed to be a car that's super enjoyable and fun to drive even at low speeds, as far as the actual driving feel, the sounds from the ITBs and the exhaust, and visually, I wanted it to be really nice to look at, but not over the top, still really tasteful. So I was worried that I wasn't gonna be able to find the right shade of green that would kind of hit that mark. And Chris worked with me a ton. We modified that Porsche green. He added a ton of flake to it. And I was still nervous that it wasn't gonna look as good in person as it did in the samples, that maybe once it was all on a car, I wasn't gonna like it that much, but it is phenomenal. We brought it here to Automotive Aesthetic, and Steven and Chris cut and buffed the paint, and it looks so good. It's even better than when it was first sprayed. The paint has so much depth. The clear coat is absolutely phenomenal. I'm so stoked that we finally gotten over the biggest hurdle with this car, which was always gonna be getting it painted. I'm so lucky to get to work with pros like this who are so good at making cars look super special. Obviously, we're not done yet. It doesn't have an engine in it, it doesn't run, it doesn't drive, it needs a ton of stuff. It needs hardware for the roof just so that the roof can get mounted. So we have a long ways to go, but this was the biggest hurdle to clear, and pretty soon it's gonna be running and driving. It needs to be running and driving by next week because we are going to Wisconsin to make more horsepower with Andy Smedegard. But for right now, I'm just so thrilled that it's finally painted and it's finally green.